you have a beautiful t-shirt, food farmer, and everybody knows about your reels. Every Indian person must have seen you some point of time. And I'm very inspired and impressed by your growth. And the audacity and the bravery that you have is quite commendable.
Thank
you. So let me start with this. The first video, okay, what made you do this? I mean, checking the package and all those things.
So, first video was April 2023, which is very recent. But what people don't know is like it's almost 10 years in the making. So 2015, I studied nutrition for 1 year in the US. And it was then when I realized that even health conscious people, like, forget the people who are not health conscious, people even who are health conscious, they go to the gym and they're having sports drinks. They are having drinks. I mean, I've said it enough, so I can, I guess, openly say it like Bonvita.
Right.
So even the health conscious people are having this. So I just felt like, this is something which is a big issue. And like in the thousands of years of human history, we've been eating packaged food only for the last 50 to 70 to 80 years. So if you just learn how to read a label, that is, according to me, one of the most important skills. Because approximately 70% of what we're eating today is packaged food. So that's what led me, like about 8, 9, 10 years ago when I was doing the nutrition course, which is when I learned about it. And I had written a book way back then, 2015, 2014. And in that book also, I had a chapter on health, which was all focused on nutrition labels. So I strongly believe it is the most important skill in the 21st century. In fact, I often joke around saying that learning how to read a food label is an even more important skill than coding. Like, people say coding is the most important skill in the 21st century. According to me, it's nutrition labels. So that's what led me to get into it, like way back in the day. And then most recently, again, like as you said, I made the video only in April 2023. So I was in the US working a consulting job, not exactly in health, but I was consulting companies which I'm now sort of roasting. So all the companies that I'm sort of roasting now is the company that I was advising before.
I see.
And I did not like whatever was happening, and I did not enjoy it. And I felt like there is a lot of false marketing, and the false marketing exists more in a country like India. I was working in the US, but the false marketing happens even more in a country like India, and I wanted to try to do something about it, which is what led me to come here. And my first video was Bonvita, and the first video itself blew up like no business. Yeah.
Blew up was an understatement.
Yeah.
So somebody needs to do that, and I think you have done that. So I can relate that to a little bit because I was in the grocery store, and in YouTube YouTube was my platform before. Okay, so I didn't have time to do long videos that much. So I said, okay, no, let's do short videos. And my kid was in the aisle, and I said, he was picking up the Oreo biscuit. And I said that, hey, look at this. It has HFCS, high fructose corn syrup. So what you should do. So I have taught my kids. Okay, so what is protein? That's it. We play a game. So. And that video got viral as well, right? So then I realized that, okay, so that is where it hit me that, okay, people looking into the package is not happening.
Yeah.
It's not happening. So if we have to start there, so let's say a person who's brand new, okay, to the whole health department, and he wants to lose weight and all those things and wants to be healthy. And he sees your video, and you always talk about ingredients. Look at this is there, that is there, with a pinch of humor into it. I absolutely love it. So in that ingredient list, correct? What should they start with? How do they look at it?
Yeah, so first of all, let's get the basics right. First of all, what most people do is they just look at the front package. If the front package is attractive, it says strong bones, strong muscles, it's going to make you taller, or it is natural, or whatever. They usually buy it. They don't track their brains, and I don't blame them. They have 2-3 minutes. They want to go into that much detail. First thing, turn around the package.
Super. So I have a package for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so this says Kisan fresh tomato. So we are turning around the package. So what should we do? Look at this now.
So if you look at this, you'll only see fresh tomato ketchup. So it seems like it's fresh.
It's Kisan fresh tomato ketchup, and then there is a Kisan farmer.
Yeah, so the name is Kisan. There is a Kisan. There, and
but in Hindi, Kisan is 1 S, correct?
Yeah. In fact, it's kind of funny. I had made a video on this. So I said that they have a farmer in the picture. The name is Kisan, and I also call farmers. Anyways, like all farmers. But anyway, So they say fresh tomato ketchup, but if you closely see, there is an asterisk sign in the fresh tomato ketchup. It's not even asterisk, it's some weird symbol because they know asterisk is also people know asterisk. It's a very weird symbol. And if you turn it around,
It looks like a tomato.
yeah, it looks like a tomato. And earlier it wasn't a tomato. So, people will think it's a tomato.
Correct.
They won't think that there's some hidden meaning behind this.
Wow.
Because the government requires you to call out anything wrong you're doing. Or,
Man, it says that this thing, it says here only brand name and doesn't represent its true nature.
exactly. So the word fresh, they've trademarked that. And again, earlier they were using an asterisk sign. But now they know people know asterisk sign. So they're using a tomato because government requires some sign. Some companies use like a beta sign or an alpha sign. They're using literally a tomato. They're like one step ahead in the marketing.
Wow.
That's the level of marketing which happens.
I mean, I talk about this as well, but I've never realized this
Yeah.
aspect. Wow. And then it says from the farmer since 1934.
I mean, that's just a brand line. That's
okay.
fine. My point is, people are buying it based on the front package. Now, what I ask people is to turn it around. So
Okay.
the front package is just marketing. The back package is the truth. Because if they don't say the truth, you can send it for a lab report, lab test, and then you can verify whether it is true or not. So they have to be honest. There's some companies which still lie, but like most of it is pretty honest. So out here, the problem is most of the Indian public, they just look at two things, MRP and expiry date.
Correct.
You go to an average Indian, they just look at these two things. Some people, based on the religion, they sometimes look at some other symbols that, is this certifying with their, diet. But most people just MRP and expiry date. And there's a funny line. Longer the expiry date, the sooner we expire. Of course, it's not always true. There are some products like honey which just last long.
Wine.
Yeah, wine.
Does it expire at all?
Yeah, exactly. Alcohol is a different ballgame altogether, which I'll get to later.
Yeah,
They don't have nutrition labels.
Yeah,
It's kind of strong lobbying or whatever, but like the separate. So I always tell people, don't just look at MRP and expiry date. Look at the ingredient list and the nutrition label. Nutrition label is important. However, there are some products like a Diet Coke where everything is 0.00000. But everyone knows that you should not drink 8 glasses of Diet Coke. Like you have 8 glasses of water is fine. And the nutrition label of a Diet Coke and a water is almost the same. 0 calories, 0 sugar, 0 everything. So people may think it's healthy because of that, but that's not the case. So I say nutrition label is important, but what is even more important is the ingredient list. That is literally what is inside the product. So that is, according to me, the ingredient list is the magic of everything in the product. And ingredient list, this is like a very basic, it's listed in order of weight.
Order of weight.
Yeah. So the more the ingredient is going to be in the beginning and the lesser it's going to be in the end. You look at any Indian product, whether you pick a biscuit or a chocolate or anything, the first 3 ingredients are usually maida, sugar, palm oil. And this is like 95% of Indian grocery. And so I always say that try to avoid products in which either maida or sugar or palm oil is in the first 3 or 5 ingredients. It's fine if it's there. But if it's in the first 3 or 5 ingredients, don't try to have it every day. I'm not trying to say that don't touch it and like that. I'm just saying don't have it as regularly. And some people from my videos, they think that, I am like asking people to not touch anything. I speak in a slightly aggressive tone in my videos, and that's just to give the brand the statement that I'm not gonna get scared. It's not that I'm like, so aggressive in nature. Right now I'm relatively more calm, and that's how I am in general. I just talk in an aggressive tone because I just want brands to not think I'm scared. But anyway. So some people, because I talk in an aggressive tone, think that I'm saying that don't touch the product. That's not the point. The point is you can have the product, but just don't have it as regularly. So that's like the basic fact. Then there are more levels to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the ingredient thing. Okay.
Yeah.
So we looked at the major front part. Look, turn around, and it says ingredients. Everything will say, but ingredients is a common denominator for every packet.
Yeah.
That name will never change.
Yeah. Ingredients will always be there.
Always be there. So first it says water, tomato paste, and sugar.
Yeah.
So based on your calculation, sugar is in the first 3, so we should potentially decrease the frequency of this as much as possible.
Yeah. Then the second thing you can look at again is like how much sugar there is. For example, in this, I think it's by per serving, like per 15 grams.
Huh.
I think it's 4 grams of sugar, 3.8 or 4, something along those lines.
Perfect. You are
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
I know that you have drank the label.
Yeah. Drank the label, but not the product.
Exactly.
So 3.8 grams. So that basically means there is about approximately 4.2 grams is 1 teaspoon of sugar. So I always tell people, think in terms of teaspoons, not in terms of grams, because teaspoons we understand. Like, people put X amount of teaspoons in the chai,
Correct.
and that's why they understand. Grams is not intuitive, right?
Correct.
So I always tell people, convert, like use basic math. I say 4 grams equal to 1 teaspoon just to make it simple. So if it's 3.8 grams, approximately 4 grams. So this is approximately for every 15 grams, which is like very little. It's 1 teaspoon of sugar. So now again, now I'm in my home. I'll give you an example. We have samosas once in a while. And in my home, in order to be healthy, they have baked samosa. They are, we'll be healthy, we'll have baked samosa. And then my parents, with every samosa, they're having so much of ketchup. So point is, with literally almost every bite, you're having 1 teaspoon of sugar. It's that bad. So like if you're having 20 bites of samosa, you're having almost, not exactly, but almost 20 teaspoons of sugar. That's I feel like something like a ketchup.
So when you say 20 bites, like you take samosa, you dip in the small ketchup thing.
Yeah.
Or small this thing. That will be almost 1 serving? Or maybe two times?
That actually may be half a serving. Half a serving. So actually it's not 20 teaspoons, it's 10 teaspoons.
10 teaspoons. But still high. But
But my point is, you're having baked samosa thinking is better for you, and then you're out there, you're having 10 teaspoons. And that's a challenge. And all of these companies, if you look at their ads, I was from a business background, right? I did an MBA and I was from a business background. In order to increase your sales, what are you going to do? You're going to try to get your consumer to buy it as often as possible.
Correct.
And how do you do that? Only if the consumer consumes it almost daily. So they market this, you'll see as school tiffin. Because they want you to consume ketchup every day. Earlier, ketchup used to be consumed with French fries. And like with 1 or 2 other products like samosas. Now they want you to consume this with your roti, with dosas. Literally with dosas, they want you to have ketchup.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Ketchup dosa? Oh my God. But that's better than charcoal dosa though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Slightly. So that's the thing. So there are people who are if you go to an Indian home, there are many people who are putting ketchup even in their sabzis. It's like that level of usage because of all the advertisements they are seeing every day.
Ketchup we use in US. Ketchup is used for what? It's usually used for the sandwich where we do to increase the moisture content.
Yeah.
But we are using on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's pretty much daily, and it's very driven by the advertisements. And they show in their advertisements people putting ketchup on dosas, on vada, on like any product. So now if you go to any Indian household, we have ketchup with everything. You have pizza, there's ketchup. You have anything in their rotis, like you have kati roll, people put ketchup in the kati roll. So in the school tiffin, everyone is having ketchup, and if you just divide by portion size, approximately having 2-3 spoons of ketchup or 2-3 spoons of teaspoons of sugar, very very easily without even thinking. And that point is, I am against sugar, but I am more against hidden sugar. So for example, when people are putting having chai, they themselves putting it, so they see it visually. So you'll see a lot of Indian families, they like, oh, I have 1 teaspoon of sugar, I have half teaspoon. They know that. So in chai, they are very particular that I have 2 teaspoons, I have 1 teaspoon, I have half teaspoon. But in ketchup, they're just having so much more and they're not even realizing. And so that is like my main point. It's the hidden sugar. More than the actual sugar is the hidden sugar, which you don't realize.
And in this ingredient, is it worth looking into more than 5 or probably not that much? The first 5 is the main thing.
First 5 is the main thing. However, you have to look at others as well. For example, an artificial, this is by weight. So there are certain chemicals and preservatives which by weight it will never be as heavy, because it's just like for example, an artificial sweetener. If you're adding a sucralose, it's just going to be a tiny amount because they're so concentrated, they're so sweet. So yes, first 5 ingredients is the most important, but there are certain ingredients which you just add tiny amounts, but the harm can be like way more. Like it will never be like sucralose will never be in the first 5 ingredients because it's such a tiny amount.
I see.
So that is like the challenge. So you have to you have to skim through the entire list.
Right. So I tell my patients is that, as you know, I'm a gastroenterologist.
Yeah.
Sometimes we forget. So I'm big on gut bacteria, correct? So the higher the number of ingredients has a direct relation with the lower the number of gut bacteria.
Yeah.
And this sucralose and all these artificial sweets, it's okay. It's okay to consume occasionally. What happens is, so let's say that you mentioned the first 5 and then weight, it doesn't meet that much amount of criteria, and you take sucralose, the gut bacteria will grow accordingly wanting sucralose. That's the key. So 2-3 months you take sucralose, basically you will crave for sucralose.
Yeah.
So then the amount of consumption, what you started initially, that, it will be decreased, please take it occasionally. That is the concept that will be lost.
Yeah.
So it is important to know other ingredients as well, correct?
Yes, exactly.
As well, okay. And then are you concerned about this acidity regulators, stabilizers? What are those?
It depends on a product, like, case by case basis. It's like, hard to just say that, okay, everything is bad or everything is good. The thumb rule which people use is that if you do not understand what it means, avoid it. If you cannot pronounce it, avoid it.